Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. How did the homework go? Do you have any questions from the homework? Please start to put them on chat so we work on them. Okay, any questions? Okay, anybody else beside this question? Okay. Right. So before I get your classmate questions and anybody else who have a question, I would like you to work on this problem that I have on black on the screen. It's also on bright space under worksheet. So in case you don't see the screen very well, so you can find it there. So I'm going to give you like a minute, 2 minutes to start doing this question. And the goal of this problem is really to learn how better interpret the slope if my linear function is around a story problem. So I want you to get going. And those who have any problems that they like to be worked out, put them on chat. Okay, get going. And I'm going to ask you questions. Every one of you is responsible. Let's go. So it's the problem I gave you on a quiz before. So I'd read it in case you guys can't read it. As dry air moves upward, it cools. Let F be the function that assigns to each height h measured in kilometer above ground the temperature in degree Celsius at that height. So to every height, the temperature. And there are some value. It means if the height is 0, temperature is 20 degrees. If the height is 1.8 kilometer, the temperature is 2. The question is, assume that this function is linear. It means when you graph it, you're going to get a line. Find a formula for it and show your work. Okay. All of you get going.
Is the second one for H, is that 1.8 or 18?
1.8.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 1.8. Thanks. If there is something you don't understand, please let me know. Okay, are we ready? All right. Who would like to talk about it? Who would like to tell me what they did before I pick?
I started out with finding the slope.
Okay, so what's the slope?
2 minus 20 over 1.8 minus 0.
Absolutely correct. So the slope is, because I told you it's linear, so that's the slope.
And it'll equal negative 0.1.
Uh-oh, are you sure?
Or
2 minus 20.
18. Negative 18. One second. Did I say 0.1? I think I meant 0.1.
No, minus 18 divided by 1.8 is how much?
Negative 10.
0.01 negative.
Not 0.1. Why 0.1?
It's negative 10 in this case.
It's negative 10. Why negative 10? It's the change of. Be very careful with your slope. That's a very typical mistake. So what is let us go back here. In this function, what goes on the horizontal axis? Back to you. It's the problem I gave you on the quiz and I've addressed it in class. What goes on the horizontal axis in this problem? Height or temperature? Read the problem carefully. What's your input? Quickly, what's your input? It means this function is doing what? It's sending what to what?
Would the height be the input and the temperature be the output?
Right, because the function assigned to each height, the temperature. So this is the height, and this is the temperature. And if the height is 0, the temperature is 20. And if the height is 1.8, somewhere in here, the temperature went down. Sorry, 20. I should put it a little bit up. It's not the right for 20. So we are right here. And it is 2. So it's down here, a little bit here. So this is 1.8 and 2. And this is 0 and 20. So that's a point, and that's the graph. It's a line, it's a straight line. Okay. F of h is linear. Finding a formula is basically finding the formula for this line that we see. So the slope is 2 minus 20 over 1.8 minus 0, which is minus 10. It's not minus 0.1. It's always the change in y, in this case, or the change in temperature, which is 2 minus 20. That's the minus 18. And from here to here, that's the change in the height, which is 1.8. So it's always this, all right? Okay, so now what's the formula? Now f of h is linear. It means f is minus 10, the slope, plus b. Now we need to find b. So what's b? The student who's talking. What's b?
B in this case would end up being 20.
Yeah, in this particular case, because
we already have one of the y-intercepts present.
Because I gave you the intercept. Otherwise, it's not, I don't know what it is. We have to look for it. So in this particular scenario, so we know that that's the intercept. It means that the function takes 0 to 20. That's how we interpret that. It means minus 10 times 0, in case you ever forget that, is equal to 20. So my function is minus 10h plus 20. That's the formula. Okay, and that's linear. So just linear, it means the equation of a line. You find the equation of the line anywhere you want. Very good. Now question number 2 is, identify the slope, give it unit, and interpret its meaning. Again, I'm gonna give you a minute to understand, to be able to answer this question. That's the goal of this whole problem. What is the slope? Which is easy. What's the unit? And what does it really give me? What does it mean? A bit hard, but that's okay. All right, anybody is ready?
Yeah, the
ahead.
slope would be -10.
Negative 10.
The unit for it would be the degrees. And the meaning is per 1 of x, which is height, 10 degrees would drop.
Okay, I'm having an issue with that. The slope is, who can fix his slope? Remember, the slope is how much your output change per unit of input. What do I mean by that? It means the -10 degrees Celsius represent a drop in temperature for every watt per kilometer. It's like a speed. It's degree per kilometer. It's degree per kilometer, which is mean what your classmate just said. Every time we go up by 1 kilometer, every time the height increases by 1 kilometer, the temperature drop by -10 degrees. So the unit is 10 degrees per kilometer. The slope tells me the change per unit. That's the importance of per kilometer. It means every time, and now I repeat what your classmate said, only the unit, he got it not perfect. So it means that whenever the height, because it's not x, I called it h, whenever the height increases by 1 kilometer, it means every time we go up by 1 kilometer, then the temperature decreases by 10 degrees. Decrease. So that's really the meaning of the slope, is every time you go, the input change by 1, it means in this problem, it means the height means we go up by 1 kilometer, your temperatures go down by 10 degrees. So that's really what the slope is, the change per unit. It's the change per unit. Okay, identify the vertical intercept, give its unit, and interpret its meaning. Okay, who would like to answer this question? What's the intercept, which is of course clear in front of you? What's the unit, and what's the meaning of the intercept?
Wouldn't the vertical intercept be 20?
Right, because the vertical intercept is 20.
Mm-hmm.
Unit. Everyone, what does the 20 represent in this problem?
Degrees Celsius.
Degrees Celsius. Yeah. What does it mean?
That at 0 kilometers of height, it's 20 degrees Celsius.
No, you don't mean height. The temperature, you mean?
Yeah. The initial temperature is 20 degrees.
Right, initial temperature is 20 degrees, or the temperature at h equal to 0, which means in my problem on the ground level. Why it means on ground level?
Because the height is at a flat 0.
Right, because that's my question. Let f deposit assigned to each height measured in kilometer above ground. So h is the height above ground. So h equal to 0 will be the ground level. It means that the temperature at ground level is 20 degrees. And that's what the vertical intercept represents. It's a temperature and it's a 20 degrees. Okay, so the main goal of this problem, of course, be able to find the formula, interpret the slope. Whenever you have to interpret the slope, ask yourself, when my increase by 1, what happened to the output? This picture will totally help us interpreting the slope. Okay. Any questions? The problem is on Brightspace under the modular worksheet. So if you guys want to have access to it again. All right, now I go through your questions. I have one. If anybody has any questions from the homework, please put them on chat. Questions is 2G. Very good. So number 2, we do 2 problems and then we proceed. So number 2, the question is, What's the question? The question is find the slope and vertical intercept of the following line. So I'm gonna give you two of them, the easy ones. Sorry, the one that I think can give us any question. So this one. And the question is, what's the slope? What's the intercept? This is E, and I know the question is G, but we will do that. And the intercept. Okay, the first one. Please put your camera on. Remember that to find the slope and the intercept, it's easy to rewrite it in this form. Easier. You don't have to, it's just easier. Okay, who's ready before I pick one?
I can go.
Okay.
The slope in this case would be 0.3.
Right.
And the y-intercept would be at 3.6.
It will be how much?
It would be at 0.3.6.
3.6. Okay, I think you're correct. No, I don't know. I don't know where you're getting the 3.6 from.
So
if you put x equal to 0, what do you get?
6, and then like 6 would still be multiplied by the 0.3, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So
how much this would give you?
3.6.
No, how? It's multiplying. So let's multiply out. Distribute.
Oh wait, sorry, I multiplied it wrong. I multiplied by 0.6. Oops.
I know. Plus, what should be this? 1.8. If I multiply, distribute, that's okay. I don't care if you do mistake. It's gonna give you 1.8. So the intercept is going to be what's happening for x equal to 0. That's 1.8. Okay. Very good. Now, problem number 2. Again, the same question. What's the slope? Don't be afraid. And what's the intercept? So if I multiply this out, no, the square root of 5 is a number. So don't really be afraid of it. It's just a number. It's like 2 point something. Don't be really afraid of it. This time that, give me 7 times the square root of 5. I'm just multiplying. I don't want to even evaluate. I want to keep it this way. What's the slope now? Quickly. Let me pick one. McKenna? Probably McKenna was talking. I don't know. McKenna?
I'm not sure.
What's the slope? The slope is what x is multiplied by. What's x multiplied by?
The square root of 5.
That's the slope. What's the intercept? It's the y value when x is 0, which is 7 times the square root of 5. So that's my slope, what x is multiplied by. And the intercept is basically the way I like to look at it, what happened when x is 0. I always emphasize that. That's 7 times the square root of 5. Right? Okay. Any other questions? All right, so before I move on, and today we're going to finalize lines and linear, let me look at one problem just for my own peace of mind, not for yours, I guess. So number 7. Okay. So in number 7, they give us the following. They give me a function, and they tell me it's linear. It means when you graph it, it's a line. So, and that's the setup in the book. And they give me a bunch of values. So they tell me that at -2, you get a 10. And at 1, you get a 1. And at 5, k, any value k. And their question is, they want us to find k. Okay. So how did you guys do this problem? So f is linear, crucial. If they don't tell me it's linear, I don't have no idea what's really going on in this picture. Okay, how did you guys do that? Anybody? Okay, Naki, Nadim, how did you do that?
Yeah. I just input the formula y equals mx plus b.
So you find the equation?
Yes.
Yeah.
After finding the slope, that is. And then just use some algebra to figure out first what the slope was, and then
Okay,
what
let's
the
do it step
intercept
by
was from
step.
it.
Let's do it. You help me out. So f of x is linear. So he said then it has the form mx plus b. That's linear. So what's the slope? And Naki,
It
quickly.
would be y2 minus y1 over
What is
x2
y2
minus
and
x1.
y1 here?
I chose 1 and 10.
That's the only thing you can choose, right?
Yeah.
And what should be in the denominator? Quickly.
1 and -2.
So 1 minus -2, right? Over 3 minus 3. That's give me the slope. So basically I have a line here. So basically that's what I have. That's my function. At -2, it takes me to 10. Okay, and at 1, it's down here at 1. And so this is -2, 10, that's a point. 1, 1 is a point. So that's really my function. That's how the graph looks like. And the question is, can I find a formula for it? It means, can I find a way that if I know the x, I know what's the output? That's really what this problem is about. Okay, now how did you find b? Naki.
I input the values from the second part. So 1 equals -3 times 1 plus b.
Okay, so f of x is now -3x plus b. So which value you input? You have two values.
I will use the second.
That's easier, right?
Yeah.
Who wanna deal with -2 if you can deal with 1 and 1? So f of 1, it means -3 times 1 plus b equal to 1. And we can solve for b, which is 1 plus 3, b is 4. So my f of x equal -3x plus 4. That's the equation, but that's not the answer. That's the equation. So this should be 4 here. That's really my intercept that I had to find. So they did not give it to me this time, but I found the intercept. So now what is k?
Now we just input the x value for k, which was I don't see it anymore up there, which was 5.
Exactly. Now we just have to input to find k. K is nothing more than what happened at 5. So graphically, this is my 5 right here. This is the 5. And their question is, okay, now that you know the formula, what is the output at 5? That's really what their question is about. That's really what we are doing. So find k. So k is nothing more than what happened at 5. It means -3 times 5 plus 4, which is -15 plus 4, which is -11. So on the picture here, this interrogation mark is -11. And that's really what the formula will really tells me, okay? Right. So today we're gonna as I said, wrap up this section. So now we talked about linear function, which is basically a function whose graph is a line. The formula for it is mx plus b. And if you have a problem, what the linear tells you that your output changed by the same amount every time your input increases by 1 unit. Just like in this problem, if this is linear, it means that the temperature in this particular problem increased by the same amount every time you go up by 1 kilometer. That's linearity. You go up by first, you go by 10. Another one, you go down by 10. That's linearity. The rate of change is the same. The function changed by the same amount for every unit increase in input. Right, what we're going to do finally is basically some geometric property of lines that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, but we have to wrap up this lecture with that. But so some special lines and then geometric properties, special lines. Okay. By special line, I mean the following. Suppose you have a horizontal line. Horizontal. That's it. Okay, and let us say this is equal to 2. Okay, what's the equation of this line? It means what's the formula that we use for this line? So what characterizes this line? If you take any point on this line, actually, what's the slope here? What's the slope?
If it's just straight like that, isn't it 1?
Why it's 1? Remember, if the slope is 1 means every time you go up, move by 1 unit, you should go up by 1.
Then it would be 0.
Yes, there will be 0. Because if you move up by 1 unit, by how much your y is changing?
By 0.
0. The slope is 0. So if you have a horizontal line, the slope is 0. Another way you can figure out the slope is 0 is that, okay, if I take this point on this line, suppose this is 1, this is going to be 2, right? If this is 0, this is going to be 2. So regardless what you are, the second coordinate is going to be equal to 2. So if you use the formula for the slope to find it, you have 2 minus 2, which is 0. There is no y change. Divided by 1, the slope is 0. So what's going to be the equation here? So y, if I use this point, it's going to give me y equal 0 times x, if you want plus b, but the b here is 2, means y equal to 2. So that's the equation of a horizontal line. Okay, so if you have a horizontal line, the slope is 0 because there is no change in y. And the equation will be y equal to 2. So y equal to represent a horizontal line. Now, what if I have a vertical line? So now I have a vertical line. Okay, that's 2. What's the slope in this problem? So to find the slope, we need 2 points. Now what's happening in this scenario? Suppose I take this point. And I'm going to take that point. So this point. So what's this? What's the coordinate of that point quickly? What's the coordinate of this point? Please put it on chat or just speak it out. All of you. This point I have, what's the coordinate? If I put here 2 and 1, what's the coordinate of that point? Okay, thanks, Esmeralda. It's 2 for the x, 1 for the y. So what's going to be the slope in this particular issue? What's going to be the slope? So I have 2, 0, and 2. What's going to be the slope? 1 minus 0 over 2 minus 2. Means the slope is 1 over 0. It means the slope is absolutely indefinite. Okay, so if you have a vertical line like this, then the slope is Undefined. There is no change in x. The change in x is always a 0 because we're not changing x on this line. So, but what is the equation? The equation will become what? What characterizes every point here? What characterizes every point is, regardless which point I take, the x value is 2. The y value is, of course, changing. Regardless which point, the x value is 2, the y value is changing. So the equation of this line becomes the following. X equal to 2. Okay, which means that no matter what y is, the x is always equal to 2. Okay, so x equal to 2 is the equation of this line. It tells me that no matter what y is, x equal to 2. That's really what this equation here. Y equal to 2, this tells me that no matter what x is, the y is 2. And this tells me no matter what y is, my x equal to 2. So those are important lines. So for the horizontal, the slope is 0, y equal to 2. For the vertical, the slope absolutely undefined, but the equation is x equal to 2, reflecting the idea no matter what y is, my x component is always equal to 2. Now, part 2 is, as I said today, it's like geometric property of the line. So those are very important lines. Now, geometric properties of line. Okay. First question is the following, and that's a simple question. Suppose we have two lines, L1, one line. Suppose L1, L2 are two lines. Two lines with slope. So they have a slope. Let me call them M1 and M2. So each one has a slope. Okay, so suppose L1 is parallel, and the symbol for parallel is this. That means parallel to L2. So remember what parallel is. So this is L1, and this is L2. They are parallel to each other. Then what can we say about their slope?
The same.
Absolutely the same. And this is easy because there is the same rise. So if they are parallel, if I go by 1, I rise that much. If I go by 1, because they are parallel, we're going to rise the same amount. I mean, they have the same steepness, which is what the slope is telling me, is how steep they are. They are exactly the same steepness. So if L1, then the slope of L1 is absolutely equal to the slope of L2. So they have the exact same slope, nothing changed. Okay, let's have a quick problem where we're going to use this fact. So parallel, it means, just once you draw the picture, it means they are the same steepness, nothing really changed in the graph. So please, if I turn the page and you're not done, let me know because you help me this way. So let's take a very simple example. So example, find equation of a line, the line that goes through. Let us say the following point. I'm going to make up the point, -1, 2, and it's parallel to the line given by the following equation. Y -3x plus 4 equal to 0. Okay, so I move my hand and I read it. Find equation of the line that go through -1, 2, that's the point. It's parallel to the line given by y equal -3x plus 4 equal to 0. Is this an easy problem or a hard problem? Remember, to find the equation of the line, we need the slope and a point. If I know the slope and I have a point, I know the line. So I'm gonna leave some room here. What's the point on my line? -1, 2. Okay? And now to be able to find the equation, I need the slope. Is it easy to find the slope of this line? What's the slope? It's parallel to that. So if I know the slope of the line y minus 3x plus 4, I know the slope that I am interested in. Okay, so let us find here the slope of this line. Okay, all right, what's the slope of that line? 3, exactly, because we rewrite it in the form. So this can be rewritten 3x. I add 3x both sides, 3x minus 4. So now the slope is equal to 3. Okay, so parallel, it means that the slope is exactly the slope of the line y minus 3x plus 4 equal to 0. So the slope is equal to 3. And now the equation. And you can use the point slope or the slope intercept. So let me remind you the point slope. Okay, point slope. It's y minus y0, the slope x minus x0. So I'm going to use this instead of y equal mx plus b just to practice both of them. So the equation will become y minus equal the slope x minus. The point is minus 1, 2. Means I put 2 in here and minus 1 in here. And then the equation become equal 3 times, I don't like that, I would fix it, a plus 1. And now I rewrite it. As I said, there are 2 ways you can use to find the equation of the line. You can either do the point slope or y equal mx plus b. So I will practice different ones in different problems. So this will give me 3x plus 3. And now I have to add 2. The x plus 5. Okay. So for 2 lines which are parallel, basically it's easy because they have to have the same slopes. If I know the slope of L1, then I can find the slope of L2. Can I move on? Please ask questions, don't be quiet. Anything you don't understand bothers you, let me know.
On the quiz today, or is there going to be questions about the stuff we just learned now on the quiz today?
No, I never do that. Your quiz will be about what I've taught you already, okay? So you will not have parallel today.
You said the quiz was going to be everything we learned about lines, so I was just wondering if this would be on.
No, not something I did not cover.
Okay.
Okay, absolutely. No. It will be about linear, about slope and all this stuff, yes, but not about parallel and perpendicular that I'm going to talk about right now. Okay, so now perpendicular line. So let me remind you what perpendicular is. I think you know. Perpendicular, and the symbol for perpendicular is this. That's the symbol in case you guys forgot. So perpendicular means that's a line. Perpendicular, it means it forms a 90-degree angle with it. That's really what the line are. That's what perpendicular is about. Okay, so those 2 lines are perpendicular. And the question is, what's the relationship between their slope? So suppose this is the slope is M2. And the slope here is M1. So suppose L1. And this is hard to explain, so we will accept the result. So suppose L1 is perpendicular to L2. So that's really the picture. Then what's the relationship between their slope?
Isn't it something weird like they flip it or like turn it negative?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the proof is hard, so that's why we just give it to you. Then the slope of L1, and you have just to memorize it, is minus 1 over, so it's the inverse reciprocal, slope of L2. Okay. And symbolically, M1 equal minus 1 over M2. So you can remember it in either way, right? So if two lines are perpendicular, there is a relationship between their slope, and that's the relationship. So let's have an example where, again, we elaborate that. So problem is, find equation of the line that go through the point. So I'm giving you a point that go through the point. Let me pick a point, 2 minus 1. So the line, it goes through this and is perpendicular to the line given by let me give 2y plus x equal to 0. Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes to write this down. So whenever you need equation of a line, you always remember you need a point and the slope. If you have both, then you can write the equation of the line very easily. So do we have a point on this line? Quickly, what's the point? The point is 2 minus 1. But then I need the slope. How can I figure out the slope? I left an empty spot here for a reason. How do we figure out the slope? My line is perpendicular to that. Okay, perpendicular. It means that the slope of it is going to be minus 1 over the slope of this line. So let us find the slope of 2y plus x equal to 0. So let me call this line, so let's call L2. Let me give L2 is the line 2y plus x equal to 0. Then what's the slope of this line?
-1.
No. Why
Oh,
-1? Be very careful, all of you. What's your mistake?
-1 over 2.
Right, be careful. So we have to rewrite y equal mx plus b. So we can figure out the slope. So this is going to give me y equal, 2y is minus x. Now I have to divide by 2. We divide by 2. It will mean minus x over 2. We divide everything by 2. But this can be written as minus a half times x. And now we can really see the slope exactly, because minus 1 over 2 times x is basically multiply numerator minus x over 2. Okay. So the slope is, now I have the slope of this line, it's going to be minus 1 over the slope of L2. Okay, so my line now, this point is 2 minus 1, and the slope is minus 1 over the slope of that. So which is going to be equal to minus 1 over minus a half. So that's the slope of L2. And now fraction is in order. Property of fraction, that's minus 1 times minus 2 over 1, which is going to be equal to 2. Okay, so I repeat, I need a line, that's the point, 2 minus 1, but they didn't give me the slope. They told me it's perpendicular to the line 2y plus x equal to 0. So it's the slope of it is minus 1 over the slope of this line. So now I go after the slope of this line. I say, okay, to find it, I need to rewrite it under the form mx plus b. So I rewrite it. 2y equal minus x. Y I divide by 2 across minus x over 2. I need to see the slope. I need to see the slope. To see the slope, I factored out minus a half, and this would be the slope of the line. Of this line. Now the one I'm interested in, its slope is minus 1 over the slope of the line 2y plus x. It's minus 1 over minus a half. Now, property of fraction, minus 1 times minus 2 over 1 is equal to 2. So that will give me the slope. So now I have the point and I have the slope. Finally, I need the equation. So I'm going to use the point slope form to find the equation. Okay. So finally, equation. Okay. Again, I write here the point slope form, which is y. If I have a point, it's the slope x minus x0. So now this y minus equal x minus. The slope is 2. The point is 2 minus 1. It means this is minus 1 here, and this is 2. Now I just have to manipulate that. Okay, so it's going to give me y plus 1 equal, I distribute 2x minus 4. I solve for y. So I need to subtract 1 away. Minus 1. And this would give me y equal 2x minus 5. And that's the equation of my line. Okay. So as I said, today we do a lot of the geometric properties of line. Okay. The last question is the following. Again, within the same ideas, Okay. The last idea we're going to work with is what we call intersection of two lines. What do I mean by that? What does the word intersection mean?
Where they cross.
Exactly, when they cross. So suppose I have two lines. So suppose you have the following line. 2x plus 6. And so that's, I want to call this L1. And I have the line L2, y equals 4x plus 2. Okay. So the question is, sketch those lines and then find their intersection point algebraically. So the question is, sketch the lines, both, and then find their intersection point. It means where they cross, where they meet. Okay. Algebraically, we're not going to do it picture. All right, so sketching. All right, so this is my x and y. I want to sketch the first one, y equal to x plus 6. Now, how to sketch the line? Two ways. Either you think about a point and a slope, or you just pick 2 points and you connect them. So suppose the line L1, I want to sketch it. I'm going to pick 2 points. Of course, easy point. I never pick hard point. So this is the x and the y. Easy point, if x is 0, this is 6. We always go after that because we all like to know the intercept. That's 6. So I have a point. And then pick another point, that x equal to 1. And we know it's going to increase by 2. That's going to be 2 times 1 plus 6, which is going to be equal to 8. So for 1, it's going to be equal to 8. So this is somewhere here. And this is my first line. So that's 1, 8, right there. So that's my line L1. Then I'm going to sketch my other line. L2. It's x for x plus 2. Again, if x is 0, this one is at 4. So it's 2, 4. That's my 4 down here. Sorry, that's nonsense. If x is 0, I am at 2. My apologies. So I am down here. This is my 2. If x is 1, I am at 6, which is right here. So that's my second line. That's my L2. Okay, so let us watch those two lines. L1 start at 6. It rises by 1 unit, by 2 units every time x increases by 1, because that's its slope. So you go by 1 and increase by 2. L2 start way lower. It start at 2, but increase faster because the slope here is 4. It means every unit, this line will increase by 4. However, L1 will increase by 2. So it starts lower, but it increases faster. The question is, where do they meet?
2, 10.
How did you find that? And I want it algebraically.
Well, for
Algebraically, because a lot of time it's hard to do it just by spotting it, because you can have a third, you can have a fourth. So that's why we have to do it algebraically. How do we do it algebraically? What happened at this point? What happened? What?
They crossed at that point. They meet.
Repeat, I couldn't hear you.
That's where the x, well, what the point, that's where they meet.
That's where they meet. But how are we gonna find it?
I kind of just went down the line like we did with the other thing points.
Okay, at this point, what happened? We need to find the value of x, so that if I plug x into this formula, so the y in here and the y in here has to be equal. So to find the intersection point, what we are going to do is we're going to set the y of L1 equal y of L2. Because we're looking for the value of x, so that if you plug it here or here, I get the same y. So my question is, we're going to set 2x plus 6. I'm looking, what is the x? So that if I plug it here or I plug it here, I get the same value. So we set 2x plus 6 equal 4x plus 2 and solve for x. So we set the y's equal to each other. Okay, so it means I find the x so that if I plug it in either, I get the same value. So let us solve for x. I have 2x here, 4x here. To solve for this x, that easy or hard, I have to isolate my x's. So I'm going to subtract 2x both sides. So subtract 2x. So I can isolate. I will have 2x plus 2. Then I'm going to take away 2. Subtract a 2 will give me 2x equal to 4. And finally, divide by 2 will give me x equal to 2. So what's the property of this 2? The property of x equal to 2 is that if I plug it into the y of L1 or the y of L2, I get the exact same answer. So that's how we're going to find the intersection point of any two graphs. We set the y's equal to each other. So now if x equal to 2, what's the y? How can I find the y? The idea about the y is that I substitute in either one, I should get the same value. So if I substitute it in L1, I got a 10. Or you can substitute it into this one, the other one, and I get exactly a 10. So they should give me the same y value. So this should be equal to 10. So the intersection point to 10. Your classmate guessed it, but we will not be guessing it all the time. We actually should be able to evaluate it by setting the y's equal to each other. Okay. All right, so we stop at this point. Please do the practice problem and do your Moodle homework for Thursday. Please do that so you guys can do well in the course. All right, quiz time. You guys know where the quiz is. Get going. If you have any questions, you let me know.